All right, let's talk about something you've probably seen a million times in the grocery store. Dates. You know those wrinkly little fruits? But are they just another sweet snack, or is there something more going on inside? We're about to find out.
Yeah, for most of us, they're basically nature's candy, right? A sweet, sticky little treat. But what if I told you the science shows there's some serious power packed inside them? It's pretty surprising.
Yeah, exactly. So think again. We're not just exploring a snack here. We're talking about a legitimate superfood. We're going to dive into the science that shows how they can impact, well, everything from your energy to your brain. So here's what we're going to cover. First, what makes their sweetness so special? Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the nutritional blueprint. After that, we'll talk about your daily wellness, how they can help protect you from disease, and a really surprising benefit for expecting mothers. And finally, we'll wrap up with how you can actually use them. Let's jump in.
All right. First up, beyond a sweet treat. We really need to rethink what sweet means when it comes to dates. See, the sugar in a date isn't at all like the sugar in a candy bar. It comes with a whole support team. You could almost call it functional energy.
And that right there is the key difference. You know how a cookie gives you that massive sugar rush, and then boom, the crash? Dates just don't do that. The energy they provide is different because it's bundled with all these other health-promoting compounds. It makes them a way smarter source of fuel. So what are these amazing compounds I'm talking about? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at the nutritional blueprint. What is actually inside one of these things? Okay, so let's look at a 100-gram serving. That's roughly, say, 3 or 4 of those big, juicy medjool dates. Now, you'll see the carb count is pretty high. And you might think, whoa, but wait, look at this other number, 7 grams of fiber. 7 grams! That is huge. It's the secret weapon here, the thing that unlocks all the other good stuff. Okay, get ready for this, because this next number is wild. 40%. That is how much of your daily copper you get in just a few dates. 40%! Copper is so important for creating energy in your cells and helping you use iron. To get almost half of what you need for the day from a simple fruit, that's just incredible. And it doesn't stop there. You're also getting a solid 15% of your daily potassium. Anyone who's ever worried about heart health or blood pressure knows just how critical potassium is. It's a powerhouse mineral. And just to round things out, they're also loaded with other essentials. We're talking magnesium for your muscles, manganese for your bones, and even vitamin B6, which is crucial for your brain. Seriously, this isn't just a snack. It's more like a natural multivitamin. Okay, so those are the numbers, the hard data. But what does that actually mean for you? You know, in your daily life. How does it make you feel? Let's talk about that wellness boost. This is where that fiber we talked about becomes the superstar. Think about processed sweets. It's that familiar sugar roller coaster, right? A crazy spike, then a hard crash. But look at dates. Because of that fiber, they have a low glycemic index. That means the energy release is slow. It's sustained. No spike, no crash. That's why they are the perfect pre-workout fuel or that 3 p.m. slump buster. And that fiber is a double agent. In a good way. Part of it is insoluble fiber. That's what adds bulk and, keeps things moving regularly. But then you've got the soluble fiber. And this stuff is amazing. It actually becomes food for the good bacteria in your gut. So you're not just helping yourself, you're supporting that whole little ecosystem inside you. So we've covered the daily benefits. But dates also play the long game. They offer some really powerful long-term protection. This is where they act like a shield against disease. And it's almost all thanks to their incredible antioxidant. And we're not talking about just one type. Dates have a whole team of antioxidants working for you. You've got flavonoids, which are fantastic at reducing inflammation all over your body. Then there are carotenoids, which are famous for supporting heart and eye health. And to top it off, there's phenolic acid, another powerful anti-inflammatory that might even help lower the risk of certain chronic diseases. And look, the research on this is solid. Scientists literally call dates a treasure trove. And that's not just them being fancy with words. They're talking about these real bioactive compounds that act like bodyguards for our cells, protecting them from the kind of damage, oxidative stress, that builds up and leads to disease. And that protection seems to extend all the way up to our brains.
Now, this is still an emerging area of research, but what we're seeing in lab studies is fascinating. It looks like dates might help lower inflammation in the brain and even help reduce the buildup of those nasty amyloid beta plaques, which, as you may know, are heavily linked to Alzheimer's.
Okay, now for what is, I think, the most surprising benefit we're going to talk about today. This one is a real wow factor. For literally centuries, dates have been used to help with childbirth. And now, modern science is finally starting to figure out why it works.
The studies on this are just fascinating. What they've found is that when women eat dates every day, starting around week 36 of pregnancy, it can actually help prepare the cervix for delivery. What does that mean in real terms? Well, it could mean a higher chance of labor starting on its own without needing to be induced, and maybe even a shorter first stage of labor by helping contractions be more effective.
But, and this is super, super important, if you are pregnant, you absolutely must talk to your doctor or midwife before changing your diet for this reason. This is something that can support the process, but it is not a medical treatment. Always consult your healthcare provider first.
All right. So we've seen the science. We know dates are packed with nutrients and can be incredibly protective. But how do you actually eat them? Let's get practical and talk about how to make this superfood a simple part of your life.
First things first, you got to know your dates, because not all of them are the same. If you see those big, soft, almost caramel-like ones, those are probably medules. They are perfect for just eating plain or stuffing with something yummy, but if you see smaller, firmer dates, those are likely deglet nors. They have a nuttier flavor and are amazing for baking or chopping up because they hold their shape.
And honestly, the possibilities are endless. You can throw one or two into a smoothie instead of sugar. My favorite, stuff one with some peanut butter or a little cheese for an amazing snack. Chop them up and toss them in a salad for a pop of sweetness. Or if you make your own energy bars, they're the perfect natural binder to hold everything together.
So when you boil it all down, it's pretty clear, right? The humble date is so much more than just nature's candy. It's a true functional food. It gives you steady energy, a ton of crucial minerals, and all these protective compounds we've been talking about. This ancient fruit is sweet, powerful, and scientifically proven. So the only real question is, how are you going to use it?